Hey guys, welcome back to the Mountain Bike Shed. Please hit subscribe, helps us put out more videos like this. Today I've got the Jamis Portal A2. So this is going to be a demo bike here at the shed. It features Jamis's 3VO suspension, which is really cool. We typically recommend our customers never lock out their suspension. The 3VO really allows customers to do that. So we'll pop right into this bike. I'll break this. I should probably use a knife. We'll get this box open. But this is going to be the Jamis Portal again. We'll have it in size large here at the shop as a demo. For those of you who aren't nearby, we do have a bike park right at the end of our parking lot, Eureka Mountain Bike Park here in Eureka, Missouri. So if you are passing through, we've got, 50 miles of probably the best single track in St. Louis here in Eureka, within about 3 miles of the shop. So people can demo the bikes at the bike park at the back of our space though. So let's give myself a little more space. Linda's in here with me. She's the shop dog. Seen her in other videos. If you subscribe, you'll see her on shorts, I'm sure. Let's see how they got this packed in there. So yeah, first things first. Nice set of Stan's Flow rims here, so something really durable. The Portal is the 29er. We also had the 27.5 hardline with 160 mil travel in the shop as a demo. But this guy is 130 with 29-inch wheels. So we're here in Missouri, the Midwest. This is going to be a bike a little bit better built for the Midwest. So I kind of feel like bike companies have gone maybe a little bit crazy with things. Bikes have gotten really slack, a ton of extra travel. I mean, I remember when we opened up the mountain bike shed here in St. Louis 5 years ago, kind of 2018. We had 120 mil full suspension bikes, and everybody was like, are you crazy? Like, you don't need A, full suspension, B, if you do have full suspension, you don't need anything more than 100 mil. Now every bike, kind of the minimum we bring in is 120, and these bikes are getting super slacked out. So a lot of those bikes people are looking at, your 150 mil travel bikes, 170 mil travel bikes. I mean, they have like 63.5 degree head tube angles. That's the same as our downhill bike. So yeah, I think it's a little bit overkill. This kind of brings things back in line. So the Jamis Portal, the A2, which is the aluminum version, is going to have slightly different geometry than the carbon versions will. This bike's $37.99 with 130 mil of travel, Fox suspension all the way throughout it. Wonderful packaging. As the derailleur almost fell out. But yeah, really cool bike, 67.5 degree head tube angle. The geometry is adjustable. You guys will get a look at that here in this video. But it's not too much. So, back in 2018, and that's really when this Portal originally came out, 67.5 degrees was super slack. By today's standard, it's not. But guess what? Most of us aren't riding shuttle parks all day, every day. And even if we are, especially if you live in the Midwest, 90% of our riding is going to be cross country. So you've got to climb. Our local kind of suspension experts here in Missouri, Trail Labs, the biggest thing they tell us is tell your customers to never lock their suspension out. Reason being, we want our suspension to be doing its job as we're climbing. So if you, flick the lockout button and lock your suspension, well, now your rear wheel is not tracking the ground on climbs. And here in Missouri, we've got pretty technical climbs. We follow deer trails a lot here. So it's nice to have your suspension actually doing its job. So I'm just going to preset this so I can get the bike up and open for you guys. We'll jump back to actually getting this dropper post set up towards the end of the video. I may not make you guys watch all that. It is fun to watch you get unpacked though. So we will do that together. First thing we'll crack open is this 3VO suspension. So that's what's really cool about Jamis. This is what allows the bike to not need to be locked out. So this kind of whole platform had in mind using a coil shock. Coil shocks, of course, you cannot lock out. So we needed a solution for that. Jameis said, gotcha. So now you can pedal this bike up a hill. It's going to stiffen up like a hardtail really well. And then when you go into descents, the leverage ratio, so 3VO is 3 variable optimized. One of those variables is an instant center. The instant center is behind the bottom bracket. This is what you would call like a virtual pivot suspension, similar to like maybe something Santa Cruz uses. But the virtual pivot point, a lot of bike companies will have it in front of the bottom bracket. So that means as your axle is moving through the travel here, it's actually pushing that virtual center forward and stretching your chain line here. So if the virtual center point is in front of the bottom bracket, then this chain here has to grow in order to accommodate that point. Well, when that happens, your drivetrain adjustments get all messed up. And when things grow, they obviously have to come back. So there's going to be a delay, especially when you're going through kind of rough, chunky downhill stuff, that you're gonna have an issue with that, or you're gonna feel your pedals kind of make that difference up. Whereas if you have the virtual pivot is behind the bottom bracket, that area, even as this goes through its travel, it's not pushing the bottom bracket forward. Therefore, this is staying, or it's moving very little, and the length here to here is not growing, so your chain line's not growing, meaning you have this like constant feel on your pedals. It's really noticeable when you're riding on one of these 3VO suspensions. You don't feel that kind of looseness in your pedals for making up that chain slack. So you have this very constant, very planted feel on a 3VO, which I really love. I haven't had, we have here the Hardline as a demo. That's what I've ridden up at the Eureka Mountain Bike Park in our parking lot. And it really blew my mind, the stability I had on the pedals, because I hadn't heard that been talked about, but it was really noticeable for me. So I'm interested to see this on now, and even, being a 29er, being only 130 mil of travel, being not quite as slack, the 65-degree head tube angle of the Hardline. Hardline's 160 mil travel bike. We'll see how much I like this bike when we get it out on the trail. I dig the color again. It's got those gray Vittorias on. The black looks really dope on it on the Hardline. And it's going to look really good on this storm gray color as well, I'm sure. So really beautiful bike here. Again, 67.5-degree head tube angle. That's going to be variable. You can change it. There's a high and low position. So the instant center keeps the chain from growing, which gives you stability on your pedals. The other variable in there, now I'm blanking. The third one is leverage ratio. The leverage ratio essentially means that the forces that need to go into it are going to be progressively stiffer at the beginning of the travel. That's what's going to allow it to have a really stiff pedaling platform. So it's kind of like a curve. Then it will get softer towards the middle. So that's when you're doing your descents. So that way you get all your small bump compliance. And then as this suspension, gets deep into our travel at the top, it gets progressively stiffer again. So that leverage ratio is going to be really, really key to this bike. Pedaling so well. On the A2, I'll try to get the rest of this packaging off for you. I have to chew the wheels before I put them on because my heart won't let me not do that. So I'll cut the video. Maybe we'll paste it together. But I'll open up the rest of it still. We'll go over specs on the build. Again, 29er with 130 mil of travel. That 130 mil of travel is brought to us via Fox DPS on the rear. And a Fox 34 up front. So really premium bike for $3,700. Come test ride it at the shed. Race face cranks. That's a threaded bottom bracket. So I don't know if that's ESI, looks like it. But yeah, threaded bottom bracket from Race Face with the cranks, Race Face handlebars, boost spacing obviously. We've got Shimano 4-piston brakes to give you really good stopping power. As you move up in the build levels, you know, obviously the builds are going to get a little bit stronger as we go. But this is super solid out of the box. To get this kind of technology, to get a bike that's going to pedal this good for $3,800 is absolutely insane. I also noticed, like, when I rode the Fault Line, that I feel like I never ran out of travel on it. So I'm interested to see how this 130 feels. Again, I mean, if we're talking a couple years ago, and the trails haven't changed that much around here, maybe, if anything, they're smoother. So you almost would need less bike nowadays than you would have needed 5 years ago. But I'm interested to get back to 130 mil travel bike, be efficient again, conserve some energy, and see how it goes. So absolutely stunning rig here with the JMIS. But yeah, you guys can see, let me zoom you in a little bit on this view. Uh-oh, there it is. So yeah, there's the 3VO suspension. It's a 4-link design. And basically that allows this to shift the virtual pivot point behind this bottom bracket. It's really cool to kind of watch it move. Oh, and then the last kind of detail about this, the 3VO to know, is the axle path. So because of this suspension design, because of where that virtual pivot sits in this linkage system, it does make the axle path that just kind of, it slightly goes out and then comes back up, but it's pretty much kind of, the idea is for it to be as vertical as possible. So JMIS does a really good job with that. So very cool. I will cut this video here. Again, this is the JMIS Portal. It is the A2. It is $37.99. It has Shimano Deore drivetrain, Standsflow rims. It's a 29er, 12-speed Vittoria Mazda tires, Fox 34, Fox DPS float, 130 mil of travel. For 90% of mountain bikers out there, like, this is the bike. 67.5 degrees is plenty slack enough to give you all the confidence in the world. It's got a nice short race face stem on there. You know, 25 mil rise on the bars. Maybe you'll want a little bit more. Really great bike. 4-piston brakes to stop you with confidence. It's 160 mil rotor on the rear, 180 on the front. So maybe that's something to upgrade once you do get this bike. But absolutely awesome bike. You're not going to outride it. It's 130 mil of travel. It's going to be efficient. It's going to help you keep up with the boys. Maybe you don't need to get an e-bike quite yet. Come test ride the Portal. I mean, we've got this bike here for you guys. We also have a hard line. We're in St. Louis, Missouri. So if you live anywhere around here, come on down, bring your ID with you, and we will let you demo the bike up at the Eureka Mountain Bike Park here in our parking lot. Bring your helmet, bring your gear, bring your shoes, bring your helmet, bring your knee pads, bring your gloves. Be ready to do a test ride and try them back to back. I mean, you'll really notice the difference of, like, oh, do I really want a 150 mil travel full suspension bike to pedal around St. Louis every single day, just so I can have a little bit extra bike, you know, when I go to Shepherd a couple times a year. So, you know, let's think about that again. 130 is nothing to laugh at as far as you know, as far as travel goes, it's plenty for anything you need to do. You want to go a 4-foot drop, 6-foot drop, she'll be able to do it just fine on this bike. And you're going to have the pedaling efficiency of not being over bike. That 67.5 degree head tube angle, really short chain stays on this bike, make it an absolute dream to pedal around on. 29-inch wheels climb over everything with ease. It's really nice. Let's see if I can get these bars on camera. So funny, I call this this is technically a bike unwrapping. This is the first portal I've got to see though. I tell you, I really dig this color. Jamis does a great job with the colors of their bike. So if you're this far into this video and you're really considering buying a Jamis bike, I will tell you it's a cool company. I like them a lot. Jamis started originally in 1937. George Joannou immigrated, or he didn't immigrate here. He came here from 1937, by the way, England actually. They had a lot of lightweight bikes, and here in the U.S. we just had a bunch of heavy stuff. So he said we should probably start trying to import some bicycles. So called some people he knew at the bike shop that he worked at when he was in England, and next thing you know, he's bringing bikes in. In 1980, he bought Jamis. He got sick. His daughter took over, and she's been running the company ever since. It's a really small company. They all work really hard, really care about the brand, as do we. Just really neat company if you look into them. Karen seems to be a great CEO and leader for Jamis. Everybody seems to love her. She does pick some pretty cool colors for the bikes, so she has part in that. And I just like the kind of, they were kind of, Jamis was one of the first companies to jump onto 27.5 wheels. So we love their Hudson Cruiser bike. We love the Hardline, of course. We've got the Trail X, the Helix, all that good stuff here. So all really nice. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here. I will let you guys pick up on the next section once I have the wheels on. I won't bore you guys with having to watch me true wheels for the next 20 minutes. So catch you when we got it all back together.